In a small-town diner, where everyone knew each other, today felt different. The usual lunchtime chatter continued, with customers calling out orders and catching up, but the air in the diner felt tense. In the corner, an elderly man in a worn leather jacket and a long gray beard sat alone, quietly eating his meal. Gus, a regular customer at the diner, came in every week, always polite, always leaving a tip, even though his clothes didn't match those of the other customers. But today, a group of teenagers decided to make Gus their target. One of the boys, wearing a backward baseball cap, snatched Gus's drink and threw it, splashing the cold liquid all over him. The group burst into laughter, mocking Gus. From behind the counter, Emily, a young waitress, watched the whole situation unfold. She had been working at the diner for over a year and knew Gus well. He was a kind soul, a fixture of the diner, but today, something felt different. She could feel the unfairness that Gus was facing. Unable to stand by and do nothing, Emily decided to act. She marched over to the group of teens and didn't hesitate to speak out. "Hey, you guys, stop right now," she shouted in a commanding tone. "You can't treat a customer like this. This isn't fun." The group of teens froze, staring at her. The boy in the cap scoffed, dismissing her. "What are you gonna do, lady?" he said, challenging her. Without backing down, Emily replied, "I'll report this to the manager, and you'll be banned from here for good if you don't stop right now." But instead of stopping, the boy grabbed Gus's drink and poured it on him, laughing as the group ran out of the diner. Gus sighed and reached for napkins to clean himself. Emily couldn't stand the injustice and rushed to grab a clean towel from behind the counter, handing it to Gus. "I'm so sorry about this, Gus," she said, her eyes full of empathy. Gus gave her a tired smile. "It's not your fault, kid. Some people just don't know respect," he said softly. Emily clenched her jaw. She couldn't accept what had just happened. She stood up for Gus, but no one else in the diner had done a thing. Afterward, she was called into her manager's office, Mr. Reynolds. Anxiety crept over her as she walked back there. "What did you do, Emily?" Mr. Reynolds asked as she entered. "What did you do to our customers?" "I was just protecting a customer, sir," Emily replied, trying to keep calm. Reynolds shook his head. "You were threatening customers. Those kids' families come here every week. We can't afford to lose business over something like this." Emily felt her heart drop. "So you want me to just let them bully Gus?" she asked, incredulity rising in her voice. Reynolds stared at her for a long moment before responding, "That's the way I wanted you to handle it. You don't have the right to do this. You're fired." Her breath caught in her throat. "Wait, what?" Emily couldn't believe what she was hearing. She had done the right thing, and now she was being fired. She slowly removed her apron and placed it on his desk. Walking out of the office, she saw Gus sitting at his table, still watching her with concern in his eyes. "Are you okay?" Gus asked when he saw her leave. Emily forced a small smile. "I just got fired, Gus." Gus sighed and patted her hand. "You did the right thing. Some people only see what they have, but they don't see what really matters." With a heavy heart, Emily left the diner. What she didn't know was that her life was about to change forever in the next 2 hours. As Emily sat in her car, gripping the steering wheel, the reality of what had just happened sunk in. Fired. Just like that. For doing the right thing. Her mind raced with thoughts of what to do next. Bills were due. Rent was coming up. She couldn't afford to be jobless. Her phone buzzed with a message from her best friend, Lisa. Emily sat down in her quiet room, looking out at the towering buildings of the city. This space no longer felt cold or unfamiliar. She now had a new job, a new opportunity, and a freedom she had never experienced before. She remembered the call from Sam Carter. It had been a call that not only changed her career path but also marked a turning point in her life. His steady, calm voice had made her feel confident in herself like never before. The job at Sam's security company wasn't just a temporary job, it was the beginning of a long-term career. Sam hadn't promised just a job, he had offered her an opportunity to grow in a field she had never considered before. High-end security, Emily whispered to herself, smiling. She remembered the first time she heard of Sam's company, one of the most prominent security firms catering to celebrities, business executives, and high-profile clients. When Sam officially invited her for an interview, she realized that she was no longer just a waitress in a small-town diner. She had an opportunity to prove herself in a whole new world. The next day, Emily arrived at the security firm's office. The buildings around her were different, much more luxurious than anything she had seen before. She stepped into the building, feeling both nervous and confident. Everything here seemed professional, from the employees in black suits to the modern, quiet waiting area. She took a deep breath and walked into the interview room. Sam Carter sat there, along with a group of other managers. He stood up as Emily entered and smiled. "Hello, Emily. It's good to see you again," Sam said, his tone full of respect. Emily felt an unfamiliar sense of calm. She no longer felt as uneasy as she had during previous interviews. She entered this room with a different mindset, not to be hired, but to prove she could do the job. "Thank you for inviting me to the interview," Emily said, trying to keep her voice steady. Sam sat back down, looking straight into her eyes. "We've gone through your resume, Emily. You have experience and some of the qualities we're looking for. The question now is whether you have the patience and ability to do this job. This is not an easy role." Emily nodded. "I understand that. I've worked in various environments and learned how to handle any situation." Sam smiled slightly. "We're not just looking for people who can do the job. We need people who can handle pressure, who can help and protect important people in their lives. And Emily, you seem like someone who can do that." Emily smiled. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. The interview lasted about an hour, and finally, Sam made his decision. "We're offering you a position at our company, Emily. We'll start you off as a security supervisor for a few important events this month." Emily couldn't believe her ears. "Thank you so much. I won't let you down." A month later, Emily's career had changed rapidly. She was no longer just a waitress in a small diner, she was now a security supervisor for high-profile events. The work wasn't easy, but Emily loved every challenging moment. She was involved in missions that required precision and care, sometimes protecting celebrities, sometimes overseeing large events. Though the first few days were tense, Emily learned a lot from her colleagues. They were not only skilled professionals but also friendly, willing to help her in every situation. Sam Carter, the one who had brought her into the company, always had a sharp focus on work but was also deeply committed to training her. At one major event in the city, Emily had the opportunity to work alongside a team of top security professionals for a big concert. Everything went smoothly until an unexpected situation arose. An intruder tried to breach the security zone, and Emily handled the situation flawlessly, remaining calm and ensuring the safety of the attendees. When the event ended, Sam Carter approached her. You did really well, Emily. You've passed your first big test, Sam said, his eyes full of praise. Emily felt proud, but she also knew this was just the beginning. She kept learning and striving to be a key member of Sam's team. But there was one thing she knew for sure: she had found her new path, and she was no longer just the girl who served food in a small diner. Everything had changed. Forever.